Hi everybody, it's Ashley Christina coming to speak to you, your Plutonic astrologer, and it's going to be probably my favorite video because this video is all about why Scorpio is the turning point in the Zodiac and all about Scorpio, Pluto, and House 8 because this energy is largely misunderstood. We get so much bad rap on the web and every other astrology book you've ever read. And it's coming from people that are clearly not Scorpionic. They're the judgment behind the Scorpio. And it's a painful path. I've worked with several very Scorpio people, Scorpio, like as in, lots of Scorpio energy when I say that, not just a Scorpio sun. Like if you've got a Scorpio sun sitting in house 3, and then everything else is, Libra and some more Gemini energies and whatnot, you're not super Scorpionic. If you've got, Pluto next to your Scorpio sun, you're extremely Scorpionic. If you've got a Mercury right there, if you're in house 8, there's certain planets that, especially like the more planets and then which house they're in, the very, very, very Scorpio people are lots of Scorpio planets sitting in house 8. That makes you Scorpionic, Plutonic. Another dark house is house 12. Now, the ones I've worked with, I've explained this level of pain to them, and this comes from firsthand experience of being a Scorpio child. Basically, there is something about the energy of the Scorpion or the Scorpionic person that people's demons come out around them. It's horrible. And then people are so blind to themselves, somehow because it seems to come out in the vicinity of the Scorpionic, Plutonic person, people will blame them. And the way I say it is basically to have a very Scorpionic path is people dump their shit all over you, like their pain, and then they call it yours. And when you're just in the mix of it and you have no idea what's going on and you're just a child, it's fucking painful. Like Scorpionic energy learns the retaliation, self-protecting, like warring energy to protect themselves. They're also the teachers of the Zodiac at levels that like people don't comprehend. It's super spiritual. It's super underlying. It is like the depths. It's the stuff that people don't even have the levels to see in themselves, yet the Scorpion energies feel them and they sense them, and then it typically like comes out in their vicinity and then they get it dumped on. And so what I say to these people, I'm like, you get other people like have a big pile or pot of black paint and they fucking dump it on you. These people think for a little bit and they're like, I've never thought of it like that. And I was like, yeah, it's true. And it is true. And it sucks. And it like continues. And so you learn as a very Scorpionic person or Plutonic person or lots of Scorpio energies to sense when these are coming out, because it's painful. Like it is painful to consistently be painted black by other people when it has nothing to do with you. Like you'll be having a lovely day and inside you're actually so full of light and so beautiful, because that's actually what the Scorpion energy is. So it seems like on the outside they're dark, but the inside they're really light, and that's just the way the dynamics of energy work. Like if you see somebody and they're like super, super, super shiny, unless they've got like a ton of Leo energy, and there's just something like glowing, either they have like fully reached enlightened self-mastery paths, or there's something where you're like, there's something. Very few people have reached paths where they're actually, glowing from their inside out. That is true mastery, and you don't see it often. So in the Zodiac, when you get to Scorpio, when you've moved through Aries towards Scorpio, Aries is the most amount of ego you have. Everything in this area, Aries to Scorpio, is all about ego. Leo is the most amount of ego you're going to show. So that's why a lot of people kind of get a little annoyed with super egoic Leos, because they've got a lot of pride and they want to show it. They kind of want to be in the center of attention. But trust me, like somebody with like a Gemini sun or a Taurus moon, unless they've got like a Nadi or a Moon Kali IC in the chart in something that is Scorpio or above, and probably not even Scorpio, because they don't have their sun in Scorpio yet. Again, this is getting advanced, so sorry. It's hard to explain things when you know them so vastly. But okay, so if let's say there's a Taurus sun, but they've got a Sagittarius or Capricorn or Pisces, IC or Nadi, they're innately in spirit form. But if you've got a Taurus sun and you've got, a Libra IC, they are in ego form, straight up. So what I'm saying is, though, even though a Leo is like they're really going to show themselves, a Taurus is operating from just as much ego as a Leo is, as long as like their immune color, their Nadi is under Scorpio as well, so still in the forms of ego. At Scorpio, it all changes. We all, no matter what, are born with ego in the way that our only connection to it, and this happens in Scorpio, that is ours still, is our sexual channel. Born with that intact. So when you're a Scorpio, you basically get born into this world and all you have is your sexual channel left intact. You don't have any more ego. You have energetically, at your soul level, lost all other forms of ego. You've made it through Virgo, where you've learned to serve others. You've made it through Libra, where you've learned to balance. And then you're into Scorpio, where this is why this sign is also so much the ruler of sexuality, is because everybody, no matter what, is born with, their sexual channel intact. So to be born into a Scorpio sun, you will undoubtedly go through whichever way it is, whether it's sexual abuse or some sort of sexual pain, which can be like the person that you love the most, if you're monogamous beliefs and they're cheating on you, that is the worst thing you can go through as a Scorpio. It will either be sexual pain or it will be pain of death. Closest people to you will die. You'll be connected to something death-wise, see somebody die. I'm sure some really dark Scorpionic energy can get into being connected with like a fight and they accidentally kill the person, if it's like that level of darkness that their soul needs for the completion process, which is much more vast than we recognize. But to be a Scorpio sun, to follow the path of a Scorpio sun, you will undoubtedly go through like the full shattering of ego, which happens, and it happens at a level that your greatest value systems, it's like your religion, gets destroyed. And that is what's caused religious wars, when your most cherished sanctuary or sacred spaces are damaged by somebody that you loved or trusted. Where do you think, the like wars of Islam came from and have been being fought for thousands of years? Like, when it's something that is very, very important, sacred, which is also space that Scorpio rules, is damaged, you will, beyond destroying yourself, you'll destroy others. So Scorpio is also the ruler of total destruction, transformation, death, rebirth, um, sexuality and the sexual organs, the sexual channel. Scorpio is mastery of power in the zodiac. It's the connection between death and the afterlife, and for a lot of people that haven't explored death, there's a great fear of it in our society. There's not the teachings of it. Death is really just an energy, and yes, we see people die, and maybe I'll go into another video on death and some of the talks around death, because they are very not talked about in our society, and I do have quite some interesting experience and knowledge with that. So once this happens, whether Scorpio either faces a level of egoic death or actual experience of death, and then perhaps, well, when you experience it, there's a recognition that you don't actually die. So this is the transition where all the ego that it held on to, which is that of basically its life force or its sexual channel, gets that is the transformation that happens in the zodiac. That is the key to the underlying egoic energies and then the overlying energies of spirit. So once that happens, you move into Sagittarius. And at that place it says, okay, that, like, my worst pain didn't actually kill me. And then it turns into the archer, and it's Orion's belt, and it's the archer with the arrow, the bow and arrow, straight for spiritual truth. What's the fucking truth? What are all these energies that happen? Like, I could have sworn I should have died in that car accident, but I'm still here. Why am I not dead? Or the person that I loved the most left me and told me, that I wasn't the one. What's the truth? Or, I was, it gets dark for Scorpios. I was raped by somebody very close to me, and now I'm damaged. What's the truth? Like, what are the truths of the zodiac? Is that person going to go to hell? And this is where Scorpio power comes, because at this place, the rage and the intensity and the like when your soul takes over, and this is where we've got energies of Kali, this is where we've got these energies that are described in symbols where they're insane forces that take over when you, it's like parts of yourself that will take over, or these energies that will get you through these things. How many times have you heard some crazy story where, like, how the fuck did that person survive that? Those forces take over. That's like forces beyond you. And that's where we go into the rest of the zodiac, and the rest of the zodiac becomes really spiritual and really special. And this is where, the religions start to be written, and the teachings in the religions can be read. This is where, going into the occult philosophies start to happen, like the findings of spiritual truth. This is where symbology starts to come out. Old ancient wisdoms, whether you're going into the Tao or you're going into, the First Nations teachings, you know, or you're going into, this is where all energy work starts to happen, and this is where the zodiac is really made. So from that, when the Scorpionic destruction happens, which it's like bound to, like it happens at little degrees as a Scorpio sun or somebody with a lot of Plutonic energy goes through life, but there will be one big like, and it breaks them. It just destroys them to the level that suicide becomes a big thing for a lot of Scorpionic energies. Deep hatred and depression and some of the very negative emotions, which is also too why Scorpios get a bad rep, because people just can't comprehend the depth that they go through. So from there you've got Sagittarius. That is fire. It's a warm fire. It's what is the truth? What's the spiritual truth? And truly this is love, and it's divine love. But until you break through Scorpionic possessive love, you don't know what love is. And most of this world is operating under or below Scorpionic possessive love. Like actually Scorpionic possessive love is very beautiful. It's very entwined. It's the entire Kundalini sexual channel. It's yoga. They meet in a connection. It's incredible, but it's still because they're holding on to their sexuality. Like, no, you're the partner I love so much. It's still a bit possessive. So that's where Scorpios rule possessiveness and obsessiveness. And possessive love is not the ultimate love. The ultimate love is actually a Piscean love, which is the search of truth. The Sagittarius, the spiritual archer goes through after there's been an immense pain. So if somebody's born with a sun in Sagittarius, they may not remember what, because it might be from the past life or something. They may not remember what they're searching for exactly. They may not remember their experience, but they're searching. They're born into this life searching, and they've already passed the Scorpion energy, so they're not holding on to the Scorpion energy anymore. But Sagittarius is very sensitive as well. They've passed Scorpio, so you're like open, you've been blown open, and you're not in the ego, you're in the spirit form. It's not about you, it's about what is this. And so through Sagittarius they find the truth, which is God and divine love and wisdom and higher learning. And so then from Sagittarius it moves into Capricorn, and Capricorn is the goat. It's a feminine energy. It's ruled by Saturn. And it goes to Capricorn and says, hey, I know what the truth is. It is God love. It's divine love. It's all around us. And I know what I need to do to climb that mountain. And the mountain represents God. It represents our highest self. Capricorn energy is like a grandfather energy. It's very traditional energy. It's very structured and hard. It's called the Durga in Vedic teachings. It's proper. It's like a grandfather energy. When it says no, it's no. Like you are not getting past this. It's a sergeant. It's an energy that is actually very sensitive, and they'll read your energy really well, but you won't see it. And they seem really cold. They're needed in society, you know, if there's, they'll keep, you know, level-headed no matter what. They're reliable. And so Capricorn's the one that works. It'll work and work and work and climb that mountain, and it deals with integrity at a big level. And integrity is very important. From there you climb the mountain and you get to the top, and then it moves to Aquarius. And Aquarius is the water bearer, but it's an air sign. And it took me a few years of really like studying energies, and you know, like once you start to learn the language of astrology and can speak it to a decent degree, then you go out and you study it. And I've read thousands of charts and, you know, seeing and finally starting to understand my more like Aquarian energy friends. I'm like, oh my God. So Aquarius is as intense as Scorpio. Like Aquarius is super intense, but it's an air intensity. So it goes anything from like kind of like a warm or like a wind breeze to like it can go into a tornado. And it's all mental energy. And it's funny because the water bearer would confuse me. It would say like, oh, this is the water bearer, but it's an air sign. So that would really confuse me. But what is meant by the water bearer is the water is the elixir of life. So Aquarius energy, or ones with like Aquarian dominant energy, they're detached, but they're actually like quite loving. But they have such innate knowledge and wisdom of the way. And they're trying to say they're the water bearer, like I can teach you the way. And this is where, you know, the priesthood sits. This is the energy of the priesthood. It's the teachers, it's the like big spiritual teachers. Doesn't matter, clergy, doesn't, like, I don't know the proper names for all the, you know, doesn't matter if you're, you know, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, or Catholic. It's, you know, even under the Vedic traditions, it's the Brahmin, it's the ones that have the knowledge and the teachings, and it says, hey, like, I can tell you what to do. Like, I know the best way for you. I can carry your, like, I got the elixir for you. Just listen to me. Most people are too stupid to listen, unfortunately, and some of the greatest Aquarian minds just get passed on by. It's terrible. So Aquarius is similar to Scorpio in the way that it'll withdraw because it just like sees so much and it doesn't, like it tries just like a Scorpio tries, and people just are not able to meet them at the level that they're at. So it's another tough path. It's very individual in Aquarian energy as well, but it's basically knowledge. So we're in the time of Aquarius, so much knowledge at our fingertips, like with these iPhones and these phones and this internet. The internet is Aquarian energy. It's ruled by Uranus. It's electrical. It's advanced. It's gadgets and gadgets. It's like kind of like if you could put Einstein into an energy, like with his like gnarly hair and everything like that, that's Aquarian, like just brilliance, knowledge, and it's knowledge past the level of Sagittarius. Knowledge at the level of Sagittarius is like university grade knowledge, so it's high knowledge, wisdom, and philosophy. But Aquarian knowledge is like, I've practiced this and I've owned it as myself, and I actually can teach it, not because I learned it and I'm regurgitating. It's like, I know what I'm talking about. What can you do though when, you know, nobody, you know, a teacher appears when somebody's willing to finally open up their eyes and see them, right? That's an old saying. Like, when you're ready, the teacher appears. So Aquarians walk around as like these innate teachers. Most people just can't grasp or see them. So it's a tough path for them too. And then from there, we get into Pisces. And Pisces is the mystic of the zodiac. It's the god energy. It's two fish swimming in opposite directions. Like if you spray a mist bottle, it's like legitimately the mist. So when you have a lot of Piscean energy, which I do, and at into my harmonics charts, I'm like all Piscean. Pisces, rising, sun, moon, Mercury, Venus. I've got a lot of Pisces, like all in Pisces. And basically, when I'm like really, for me, because I've got naturally a Scorpionic shell, that the Scorpion energy is learned to build throughout their life to protect themselves, like this energetic shell. But when I've learned to like really take it down and like I can feel people like nobody's business. So that's what all Piscean energy is. It's like super intuitive, super clairvoyant, like knowledge without having to attain any knowledge. So understanding of Paramashiva, understanding of I'm God, understanding of, the secret of manifestation, and switching energies and moving with energies and feeling energies and sensing energies, and able to picture somebody far away and see what they're doing. Super mystical, super mystical. But because you're the mist, you're everybody. So you don't, this is where, when you've got a lot of Pisces energy in a chart, or you read somebody with a Pisces sun, again, what's the nadi? What's their innermost self, which they have on the first house cusp? What's the rising sign? But the thing is, if you're a lot of Pisces energy, so that's the end of the zodiac, it means nothing to feel everybody if you're not tied back down to somebody. And so there's a very intrinsic connection that a lot of zodiac astrologers, I guess, don't talk about, of the connection between Scorpio and Pisces. And that starts to get into some real mysticism that's really, really neat. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It brings illusion, disillusion, mysticism, magic. It's beautiful energy. Like, I love Pisces energy because it's just, you just like melt into them. Like, depends if they're like exuding good energy at their depths, which is where the natty and stuff come from. Like, if they haven't actually done their spiritual work, they might not be exuding that nice energy, but they typically still feel pretty nice. They're easygoing, but they're like, because they're so like everybody, it can be difficult because they're almost wishy-washy like a Libra in that way. So they need a lot of protection. I'm like that too. I've got a lot of Pisces. That's where you look into your harmonic charts and you can see how your energy changes at different ways. Like, we all can learn to play with energy within ourselves. Like, we can become more like a bit more masculine and strong and put on like shields, and maybe, somebody's energy, like I can have a little bit of Taurus energy, so I can like go into myself and not feel as much as I innately do. But when my mind's off and I'm not spending time like trying to do that, I'm definitely like my natal charts. And then when I'm really like, whether I'm just like really tired or really relaxed or very passive, then I become almost full Piscean, and I feel energy, and it can be a lot, like especially walking down a street or like going into a party and you're just like whether I've started shaking. There's people, I didn't understand this for a while, so sometimes I'd sit down next to somebody, and the thing is when you don't understand and whatever, you just think it's you. So there's times that I've sat down next to somebody and I don't realize it's them, but I all of a sudden form like a wicked headache, and like you're just like, oh my God, and you don't realize until you actually get up and move away from them that like that headache you just suffered for 45 minutes sitting next to that person is gone within 5 or 10 minutes of moving away from them, and you're like, oh, that wasn't me that had that headache, that was them. Or like I've sat down next to like people that are sad, and all of a sudden I want to cry. Or if I talk too much to somebody, like somebody once gave me like a really like cool arm massage, and I knew he like dealt with depression to some extent, but like the next day, until I could like shake away and like shed the energy of just like him, like, and it was legitimately like my forearm massage, like I was so depressed, and I was like, wow, I really like felt like his level of depression. I never felt it like that before, and I was just like, it was so heavy for me. And so when you've got these very, very, very empathic energies and you're not taught about them, what a life path, and how to clear energy, and it does feel a little bit weird when you know a lot about people, and nobody's talked to you why you do, or like explained to you why, it does kind of feel weird. So this is a long video. I'm done this one. Okay, good night.